Hey everybody, my name is G Brown, G Brown the Lifestyle Changer, and
I'm Frederick Brown, the husband.
you are hanging with the Browns. Y'all look who I done reeled in, but wait, he came here for our special guest tonight. Hold on, hold on. Stop the presses. Bam!
There he is.
There he
Yeah.
is.
Man, Mr. Todd.
Listen.
So good to be here with you guys.
Oh, listen, Todd. Do you know how many? Every time I mention your name, do you know how many women have crushes on you? I'm gonna start taking names, y'all. I am going to start taking names. So many people say that they have. Oh, Todd, have you ever talked with him? And I'm looking. I'm like, oh my God, Todd, what are you saying to the people?
No, it's the hat. It's the hat.
Is it the hat?
It's the hat. That's what I tell everybody. It's
The
always
hat is bad.
Okay.
The hat is bad.
Well, you need a hat then, because Todd, I
don't
don't know.
I bought about 3 in
There
Texas.
you go. You sure did.
I bought about 3.
Did. All right, so we good to go. Todd, you are truly one of my favorites in this community. When people speak of you, we'll get a chance to tell your story, but when people speak of you, all high praises. All high praises. And then too, they talk about the knowledge that you have. So that's what I'm tapping into tonight. So the disclaimer, he is not, hello, I'm getting in the mic. He is not a doctor. All right. So I'm saying that he is not a doctor. But when you get into this lifestyle and you are trying to take care of your body, you educate yourself. So he's going to share some education with us. Todd, go ahead and tell us a little bit. You got something? Did you?
Well, yeah,
oh no, my bad. Oh, that's right.
I said,
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
my
my
bad.
goodness. Stay gone for a minute.
Todd,
Come back and
Todd has that effect on women.
I know. All right, Todd. Tell us who Todd is. Who is the Carnivore Cure?
Oh, I am a 41-year-old electrician from Montana, and just struggled with weight my whole life. I was 600 pounds when I was 14, and just always fighting weight, and just I guess in 2021 it came to a head because I got COVID amongst a few things, and I got congestive heart failure from that. Ballooned up to my highest weight of over 700 pounds because I got fluid buildup. I had was on home oxygen, and I had COVID lung from all of that stuff, and it got kind of serious. And I found carnivore at the nick of time there that turned everything around, and I was so surprised not only that it worked to heal my body and that it's the first seems like the real answer to my weight issue my whole life, but also it healed things that I didn't even I had no idea could be diet related, like depression, anxiety, addictions, compulsive personality, compulsive behavior, with all sorts of things, nicotine, gambling, just always almost having like an ADHD kind of deal with me, but all those things healed up, and I had no idea that those were diet related and those were insulin resistant related. So when I started seeing that, my life, I was on death's doorstep. So I just started digging into all this stuff, and my eyes were kind of opened to it all. And now here we are. I just want everybody else to know, how easy, not easy, but it's simple, right? It's not complicated, right?
At all.
Right. And so I just, the answer was always right there in front of us, but it was actually kind of hidden from me anyways, because you go to the doctor and they wouldn't tell you it's not that they wouldn't tell you to eat, bad. It's just that they would tell you not to eat animal fats and red meat and all the things that it turned out that healed me, And so I just want everybody to get that message, because I know there's so many people out there. I mean, we are in a very privileged time of information, but we're also probably the most metabolically sick our human race has ever been. and we just need to fix that, you know.
Right. So you mentioned you were 41 years old. So how long have you actually been on this journey though?
This is 18 months I'm at right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 18 months. Now you talked about some of the um reasons or some of the cures that you experienced, but who actually led you to this diet?
Well, I mean, if I'm being perfectly genuine, I think God did, because when I was dying, I was on my knees and I was just got in the Bible, and I'd pray every night. You know, I'd go to bed listening to Kenneth Hagin and Joseph Prince, and I didn't know if I was waking up the next morning or not.
Mm.
But I was just like, you know, I refused to take the medication that I got sent home with, because I did not think that it was the answer. And I'd seen my brother and my dad and my mom go down that road of just more and more medications, and ultimately it killed my dad and my brother. They died 11 days apart from each other in 2016, and you know, the medication never helped them. So I just didn't believe in it. So I was like, you know, is this between me and God? And every day I'd wake up and there'd be, you know, a new YouTube video sitting there with an answer that I needed about carnivore, and it would work. And that was every day, like without fail. I'd tell my sister about it, and I'd be like, we would be having a conversation the night before about a question that was going through my mind, and then the next day there'd be a YouTube video on it, and it would answer that question. And me and my sister was watching it and going, that's incredible. This is an answer to prayer for sure. And just step by step, just followed it down that path, and led me out of a lot of trouble for sure.
Awesome.
No. Okay, so on the thumbnail, I talked about that you've lost over 1,000 pounds. Break that down, because I think maybe some people thought you were like 1,500 pounds, and, you know, and you done lost 1,000.
No, I've been trying to lose this weight since I was, you know, a teenager. So I've lost 200 pounds twice in my life before I gained it back. And I lost 300 pounds twice in my life before and gained it back. So I am the king of doing, well, like I was saying, I had a pretty compulsive nature. So everything was one ditch or the other. There was no middle for me. So I would, you know, I'd just go on starvation diets, and I'd hold it as long as I could. And just lose the weight. And then I, you know, go back to thinking I could eat a normal diet of some sorts, and the weight would all just come flooding back on, and then some every time. Be more metabolically sick as a result of it every time. And the last time I did that, you know, things got a lot worse after that. I was actually pretty sick after that. That was kind of the beginning of the end, you know, where things started to spiral, because I was getting older. I was working in the office, and it was just getting really hard to carry that weight. I mean, I know 600 pounds sounds like a lot of weight, but when you grow up with it and you develop carrying that weight, you kind of build the frame to carry it, you know? And so I got away with a lot for a long time because I was young and I could carry it. But then, you know, my 30s, that wasn't working anymore, you know?
Yeah, I had, I'm gonna put this back up real quick. That was one of the pictures and stuff that you sent, and it's the one down on that one on the right, ladies. Check them out. That's what. Hey. All right, so let me just stop. I actually want to talk, and I'll say this again. Todd is not a doctor, but he's done some major research in controlling and taking care of his body. For me, when I rub my hands across my arm, right up under my skin feels like cottage cheese. And if I press it down enough, you almost can see the bumps. And I've asked, and some people say my lymphatic system, you know. So what information do you have that you can kind of lead to me? Tell us about the lymphatic system, just what it is that you know, and the functions and stuff of the body.
I'll just take you down kind of my experience with how I started learning about it and understanding it. First of all, when I was at my heaviest, both of my calves were over 36 inches in diameter. They were massive, and it was so hard to carry that weight. That was one thing that was slowing me down. It was one thing when the weight was up here. It's a little easier to carry. When it was on my legs, that was a whole nother thing. It was like walking around with, like
weights.
Yeah, 30-gallon water drums on your legs. It was really difficult, and that came with a lot of stuff. And so that was the first thing that I needed to start moving. And that's a compounding problem, because when your legs get that heavy, nothing really holds them up very well. Like, the beds that I had would break, and then I'd get recliners, and my recliners, I would bend all the steel in the recliners, and they wouldn't hold up my legs. And then I end up having to get footstools and tie ropes to my legs to help lift them up, to get them up on the footstool, because they're so big. And that was part of the congestive heart failure and lymphatic breakdown. So I started looking into the lymphatic system, because I knew that was the first place. If I was going to get healthy, it was going to start with getting this fluid out of my legs. And so I started working on that. And the first thing I had to do was get my legs up above my heart. I started using. When I met Lindy, she was talking to me about how she uses those shake plates and stuff, and that worked. And then I started to kind of doing a deep dive. And also, right about that same time, a weird thing had happened when I was doing carnivore. I started craving vinegar, which I thought was strange, because I had never craved vinegar before, and I didn't understand why my body wanted it. But this was at a point where I was pretty good at listening to what my body wanted, and I was kind of giving it to it. But it was, I thought that was strange. But lo and behold, when I started taking vinegar, I started getting a lot better energy and a lot more stamina, and I better digested too, which I thought was strange. But then fast forward, I started kind of doing a deep dive, and we ended up having she's occupational therapist Leslie Keith on her show. And that was when some things started really breaking open, because I had always had a lung issue my whole life since I was a kid, and I didn't understand what it was. And I'd seen specialists. I had every test done on my lungs you can have, and heart, because they're trying to figure out why I was having such low oxygen saturation. Because when I was 17, 18, my oxygen was only 88%, and they could not get it, by natural means higher than that. So they said, well, we don't think you have reactive airway disease, but that's the closest thing that your symptoms match. So we're going to treat you for reactive airway disease. So I had inhalers, nebulizers, and Advair that I was on for forever. And they never worked. Never, they would help me if I was having an asthma attack, but they didn't make things better. They didn't raise my oxygen saturation. And when I was talking to occupational therapist Leslie Keith, she said, do you have an apron? Meaning, do I have a flat belly that hangs down? And I have since I was a teenager. And she goes, well, yeah, you are the classic sign of having serious lymphatic issues. And she goes, what that lung issue likely was your thoracic duct on your spine was leaking lymphatic fluid backwards into your lungs.
Wow.
And she said, when you have a lymphatic issue like that, and you have that apron, she goes, I contest that you probably didn't have as much body fat as you think. You had a fluid issue with your lymphatic system when you were young, and that's what was putting the weight on you, and that's what was causing your lungs. Because she goes, that happens, it's very, very common when you have a thoracic duct issue. And she's the first person that's ever said that in my life after all those specialists. And I said, well, they're treating me for reactive airway disease, but they didn't even believe I had it. She goes, of course they did, because there's no treatment for thoracic, the lymphatic system right now, a good one. So they don't diagnose you with things they can't treat, because they can't sell you drugs.
There you go.
Yeah. So they diagnosed you with something that they could sell a drug for, which that was a little eye-opening to me. But since then, I dug into it. And one thing that we came across in that video was, brought up that vinegar. And she goes, well, actually, me and my colleagues have been talking about this. She goes, what's interesting about that is that vinegar is just a short chain fatty acid. And so just like MCT oil, vinegar goes straight to your liver through the blood system, bypasses the lymphatic system, goes through your blood, goes to your liver, and turns into ketones. So what I found out, my body was so smart that it knows that I have kind of a slow, I have a slow ability to get, or not very adapt to fat, to get to stored fat, because my lymphatic system is compromised. And so it's doing a little workaround right now, and it wants the vinegar because it makes energy in my liver right out of vinegar. And so that's why it's been doing that. And that's been kind of incredible that it was smart enough to see that. And we kind of pieced those two things together. But, long story short, what I know about the lymphatic system is all the fat flows through your lymphatic system, right? And when you have a compromised lymphatic system and lymph nodes, you end up getting packed with lymphatic fluid, like I am. Also, when I was talking to her, what's really difficult, and this is why I'm looking so forward to getting skin reduction surgery, is because when you have had something swell up like my legs did, it's like a reservoir, and it'll keep swelling up because you have all this room. There's no resistance to keep the fluid from filling it back up. And she's like, yeah, that we see that over and over again, because I can fluctuate 33 to 41 pounds in a week of just fluid that'll pile up in my legs if I'm not careful. But so that was super interesting. And also, I was always sick. And your lymphatic system is what transfers transfers the toxins out of your immune system, and also transfers immune cells through your body. And so that also made sense why I was always getting pneumonia and everything. And so it was really an interesting conversation. So I have kind of a new protocol on how to, on what I do. Basically, I use the vibration plates. I keep my feet elevated above my heart at night, and then I do the kind of the lymph massages on my legs and stuff. And it's gotten rid of 95% of the fluid retention, and it's healed up a bunch. I used to have super hard mass on the back of my legs that were hard as concrete, that felt like boulders. And that all loosened up and is healing up. And then we had a fantastic talk about, well, when I start getting skin surgery, I was worried that was going to cause a problem with my lymphatic system. She goes, yes, it will. But now they have lymph sparing plastic surgeons that know about the lymphatic system and know how to spare the lymphatic system. And she told me some really exciting news about a dye test that they do, where they can inject your lymphatic system with dye, just like they do the dye test for like your vascular system.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll show you what's leaking, right? They can see what parts of your lymphatic system are leaking. And not only that, but they can see where it's going and what organs or it may be affecting and causing toxins in.
And what doctor is supposed to do this?
Well, it's a new technology that's come out that Leslie and Keith said that they're starting to do now. And she believes it's going to get very mainstream here in the very near future and really start being a breakthrough on some lymphatic, being able to actually identify what part of the lymphatic system is breaking down and be able to track it, so that I guess maybe they can go in and remove a bad lymph node or something that's leaking. Or maybe,
okay.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I'm asking, because I was like, I'll call my doctor. I went to the physician. I did a show. What was that, like? I don't know, 6-8 months ago. There is a knot under my armpit. And of course, they, can cut it out.
Yeah.
When you become carnivore, you really try and get that food to heal you, and
sure.
And then incorporate some things versus being cut. And I, like you, did the plate, got it from through Bill Knott in Alaska, ordered my vibration plate. I wanted to ask you, how long do you do yours? And then we when we were just at Hack Your Health, we got the what is, oh God, it's another vibrate. Well, it's not a vibrator, y'all. What, stop laughing at me. I can't
One
even,
of,
I
is
keep
it one of the massage guns? The massage guns that for your lymph system?
well, you can do it on your body. What is it called?
Yeah.
I know, because I didn't put them on the spot like that. And
Yeah.
I keep saying that. But anyway, so we did one of those as well, because I just didn't want to go back to the doctor in regards to this cottage cheese under my arms.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do it on my own, but I don't know what to do. So how long do you do your vibration plate for?
So I do it for 10 minutes a day, and I do. I stand on it for 5 minutes, and I do air squats about 3 sets of 30 while I'm on it. And that helps. And then I also put my toes at the edge of the plate, and I do calf lifts because most of my problems are in my calves, and so when I do the calf lifts and pumps on that vibration plate, it helps. And then I just try to do kind of a plank on my arms on that. So I get down on my knees and I put my arms on it and I do a plank.
Okay,
And,
I'm envisioning everything you're saying to see if I
that,
can do it.
That moves the lymphatic system on your thoracic duct and your lymph nodes in your armpits and helps you get that moving. And so that helps me a bunch. And then also Wim Hof breathing helps a ton, because believe it or not, a lot of this fluid gets stuck in your diaphragm. And so if you do Wim Hof breathing, it moves your diaphragm really well. And so before I go to bed at night, I'll do 5 minutes on there on the shaker, and then I'll do Wim Hof breathing just before I go to bed, and then that helps. I mean, it's crazy. I've literally, if I'm having a bad fluid retention, like if I just drink too much, if I eat too much salt, then it causes me to drink too much, and then I'll put on 20 pounds of weight in a couple of days of fluid. And so when I need to move that, if I do the shake plate before I go to bed, do Wim Hof, I've peed up to 32 pounds out in a night before. That's how much fluid it'll move if you do that right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought you got up a lot at night. I can't imagine, because I know you're not peeing out 32 gallons gallons, Jesus.
Pounds worth, yeah.
Pounds, yes. I was like, oh Lord, he'll be there standing forever. But yeah, oh my gosh.
No, it really does help. And so yeah, I've been putting together a plan, and I plan on getting the skin reduction surgery, and then I've been doing some research on the stem cells and the hyperbaric oxygen chamber. So my plan to try to heal it is to get stem cells, the intravenous stem cells, 4 months before my skin surgery, get the skin surgery, and then also have access to a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, because they're a little more affordable now than they used to be. They're still expensive, but they're, at least you can have them in home now.
Mm-hmm.
And try to do the wound care with hyperbaric oxygen. I think I stand a really good chance if I have a lymph-sparing plastic surgeon. I think I stand a really good chance of fixing a lot of that. So
yes. Okay.
You got questions over there too.
I know. So some things that I wrote down.
Yeah,
but
one of the things we did, the massages he was talking about that we got from Hack Your Health was rapid release.
Mhm.
I don't know why it escaped me, but rapid release. That was, we got the medical version, I guess.
We did the medical version.
Yeah.
And so that's a vibration as well. It came in. So
is that the Life Pro rapid release gun?
Mhm.
Yeah, I got one of those too. Those edging, the ones that have the flat edge that are kind of curved. That's what I use on my legs, and it works fantastically.
Yeah, this is okay. So all right. So what are some common practices through how you have researched this to help maintain a healthy lymphatic system? So I do have a rebounder. Someone said that, hey, Dr. Nelson, I have a rebounder and the plate and the rapid release. I remember now. Yeah, so I have all of those.
Yeah, and I haven't even tried the rebounding yet. I'm going to here in a few weeks. I'm getting one as well. I've been waiting to make some more room because I bought weight benches and all this stuff. My house is kind of full, so I'm putting it in the garage now. I'm going to clean out the garage this summer. so that I have room for everything. But since Lindy has been really into the rebounding, when I found out that you get 5 times, or you get like, I think 5 minutes on the rebounder is like the equivalent of a 20-minute walk.
Mm-hmm.
So for your lymphatic system moving, getting the pump. So I'm like, well, I'm definitely going to be adding that to the arsenal for sure. But I think, some of the biggest things. Oh, this was another thing Leslie and Keith told me that just made so much sense. I believe that the reason why I got so big was because I believe there's an epidemic of insulin resistant infants in our country. I think, from reading Jason Fung's book, and just observing my siblings and how I'm the youngest sibling, but I'm the biggest. And if you follow mom's diet, it went from being kind of from natural from the farm to processed sugars. And so the more mom ate like that, the bigger all of us kids got, And I was the biggest when she ate the worst. And if that lines up with Dr. Jason Fung's work on insulin resistant infants, because if the mother has eats a lot of glucose, that baby's little pancreas has to deal with adult size overloads of glucose, and you end up having insulin resistant infants, which I think explains why I was so big so quickly throughout my life. And then that also is supported by, Leslie and Keith said, one of the biggest causes of lymphedema and lipedema now they are finding out is insulin resistance, that is one of the key markers. So for me, the biggest things that I do to keep a healthy lymphatic system is I now eat in a 7-day window. So I eat for 7 days and then I fast for 7 days. I do a water fast, and actually I alternate water and dry fast because I want to spend that time in autophagy to do as much healing as possible and to stimulate growth hormones. And then anything that can reduce inflammation. Inflammation is fluid. Fluid is going to make that really bad for anybody that's got, a compromised lymphatic system. So, of course, staying away from carbohydrates. But not only that, but for me, I got to stay away from dairy. I got to get completely away from that. I do the grounding therapy now because that is so helpful for inflammation, And then,
Wait, you say grounding therapy?
Yeah.
Tell me. You look here. Talk to me. What is that?
Oh, that's awesome. So I started actually doing that right at the beginning because I was researching it, and I have a background in electronics and stuff. And anybody that's ever had a static electric shock, knows that your body will store a certain static electric charge, from transient voltages and so. Well, and frequencies. Any kind of radio frequency. So basically, it's crazy. But if you have a little multimeter, you can actually watch. It's just grounding yourself to the earth because we don't get grounded anymore. But when I got the grounding sheets, I have a little true RMS, fluke meter, and I was able to put my fingers on there. And
that's what I want to know. So your grounding is not you necessarily. Not saying you don't do it. Walking outside barefoot, all of that. You're doing something. You say grounding shoes?
So they have shoes that have a grounding clip on it, so that even when your shoes are insulated, you'll still be grounded. So you can protect your feet but still ground it, so you can walk with shoes on and be grounded. And then I have sheets that plug into the ground receptacle in my outlets, so it grounds all my sheets when I lay down at night. And I have a grounding pad under my desk, and I take so that the grounding pad's grounded, so that the grounding strip of my shoes will go to the grounding pad, and it helps you drain off all this inductive charge from routers and Wi-Fi signals and Bluetooth and all this stuff, these little micro voltages or whatever. It just helps you drain that, and you can actually visibly see it on a multimeter and see that it comes out of your body. So it is. I thought, well, this could be very true, but we'll have to see it. And then the first night that I did that, the pain went out of my ankles from the swelling. And I was like, oh man, this seems like there's something really here, And so now I even get anxious, and my anxiety comes back a little bit if I don't sleep on those grounding sheets at night. Like it just something about the grounding and the circadian rhythm really go together well with those. So
Yeah, but a lot of that has to do with when you deal with pain, and sometimes in the community, people, period, where if pain was not your issue, then yeah, I know how you feel when it comes down to that's what keeps me carnivore. I tell anybody that it keeps me carnivore when you try. Okay, let's say if he wants to cheat, what we call cheating, you eat something, he like might has a little fluid or something. No, for me, it's pain. And before carnivore, I couldn't get rid of the pain with the back injections and the Percocets and all of that. I most definitely can't get rid of it. I have to endure it for like 2 days now. And so it's not worth it. It's not worth it at
right.
all right, your turn, Mr. Brown.
No, no.
Oh no, because right now I want to know the connection. That's what we're talking about now. How he's connecting. He even said all the stuff outside of how. Go ahead, your turn. Because in a minute I'm going to say the question.
We're gonna say the question.
Yeah.
You might as well say the question.
Okay,
You've been running
Todd.
the show.
Todd, the question is: so, how does the carnivore diet come into play with you? I remember seeing you one time on a show, and you were, I think, priming. You popped your muscle up. I was like, ooh, look, I saw you. Yeah. So, how is that coming together?
Well, it's fantastic. In fact, I just watched a video from Thomas DeLauer, I think is how you say his name. And he had a video of like 7 experts that taught him tricks how to lose weight or whatever. And the very first expert, I forget his name now. And the video is just out 2 or 3 days ago, but I really enjoyed it because it spoke of what I've experienced with priming at the Steak and Butter Gang, which is they had a trainer that deals with like world-class Olympic athletes and fighters. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about when he's training his fighters and they need to cut weight or whatever, mm-hmm. His athletes, that instead of that he actually wants them to gain a little weight first, feed them so that they'll heal, but also bring their metabolism up. And then when they have to cut, instead of having them on a 2,000 a day calorie diet a day or whatever and dropping it to like 1,500, they try to get their guys up to like to where their metabolism's running at a higher rate, where their maintenance is like maybe 3,000 or 3,500 calories, so that when they still have to drop down to like 2,500 calories, their fighters will still lose a lot of weight, and so that they can cut for their fight, but they will still be nourished, right? And mm-hmm. So, because that's always been my issue with the thermodynamic hypothesis on calories, is it's like they sit here and act like everything, there's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat, and they do the TDE calculator for your body mass index, and they'll sit here and tell you like we're all little robots of what our calorie intake needs to be a day. But that is all well and great, except for our metabolisms are not static, right? They're not a constant. Our metabolisms, our body's so smart that it'll adjust, right? And so even in carnivore, I'd lost 205 pounds, but then I'd stalled out really hard at month 7. It was because I was under eating. I was doing OMADs. I did OMADs for 7 months. And when the scale wouldn't move, I would eat less. And I would do that over and over and over again until I was down to 1,700 calories a day, which for a guy at the time that was 500 pounds, that's not many calories. Right? No. So I was under eating, and I just got stubborn about it for the next, 2.5 months into about month 9. And that was when I found SPG and started priming, and that turned everything around. Now it makes so much sense. And this is what carnivore, what priming, and, what the lymphatic system, or the help that it has done for me. There's so many amazing things happened when I was priming, because things that I'd had no clue that could heal up or get better just all resolved themselves. And I had to prime for 6 months, and I was eating a lot of times 5 to 7 pounds of meat a day when I was priming. Like, it was crazy. But my metabolism got raised up so high, and I felt so good when I was doing that, that I used to be missing my eyebrows, about 1/3 of them from hyperthyroidism. My eyebrows grew back when that happened. My eyesight got like 3 prescriptions better, and I had to go get new glasses because my old prescription wouldn't work anymore. I even have an email from my optometrist saying that all the retinal, all the diabetic retinal edema is completely gone from your eyes. And for the first time in my life, I can go get LASIK if I want it, or wear contacts. I've never been able to get LASIK or contacts because they didn't make them for my eyes. And my eyes healed up so much I can get them now. And my hair started growing back that I lost when I was 18. But even bigger than that was I'd been chewing tobacco for 26 years since I was just a kid. And I had a terrible nicotine addiction. And for some reason, when I was priming, my body just said, we're done with the nicotine. It didn't want it. I didn't choose to do this. I didn't think I'd ever quit chewing, tobacco.
Right. Yeah.
But my body was like, we're done with this. And I haven't had chewing tobacco since last October 26th. And it was cold turkey, and that was a 26-year habit. It was just gone because my body was just like, we don't want it. And that happened when it was healing. And then in addition to that, I had a very compulsive nature. Like I was always anxious, and there's so many things, anything I had to do right now that I had no patience. And that just completely went away. And then even more so when I was young, I had gotten a pretty bad gambling addiction, which I had put on the back burner for some time, but the monkey was always there. It was always something I had to watch out for, and I thought it would always be there. And it wasn't. I think that was from the anxiety, because it just is completely gone. I can tell that I'm completely free. I don't have any addictions anymore. I don't have any compulsive natures anymore. Like nothing. I'm very, very content, patient person now, which is not who I ever was for 39 years of my life. And so to that point, when I was doing that, I gained 21 pounds priming, but I lost 3 shirt sizes, and I got a bunch of the muscle that had atrophied back without working out, even just eating the meat.
Okay, this was asked earlier, so I wanted to hear more about the mental health aspect. They say they're not overweight, but I'm barely hanging into life with intense anxiety, fog, and hopeless. 24 days and no budge. So I'm assuming 24 days of carnivore.
You gotta eat. You gotta eat through that. Like you can't be treating this like a diet, a restrictive diet. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing that people really, really don't understand when I say, no, I just eat. It's guilt-free eating. You just get to eat.
For sure.
And it's very, very simple. And so, listen, I'm make call 1-800 something. I mean, if you feel that, reach out to someone. I'm not a doctor, so that something like that really does touch my heart. Nancy said, this is an excellent time, y'all, to get the vibration plate and the rebounders. Father's Day is coming up.
That's awesome.
Yes, so that is good. That is good.
I haven't tried it out. I haven't tried it.
I know. All this stuff I just said is upstairs. He hasn't tried it. I think you ought to try priming too.
I feel like I've been practicing, been working hard.
No, that's not what he's talking. We talking about eating, ain't? Yeah,
I know.
I'm working him over here, honey. I'm working him. Yeah.
No, it's crazy. Like when you first do priming, this is no joke. My first 5 weeks of priming was harder than starting carnivore. It was one of the hardest things I had to do, because you have to eat when you're not hungry for weeks, and you're stuffing yourself, which sounds crazy. It sounds ridiculous. But sure enough, if you do it, they call it eating comfortably stuffed, but also eating ahead of the hunger, and eating 3 meals a day, and eating like it's your job. And it sounds fun for a day or two, but then it gets real miserable real fast. And you have to set an alarm get up early to make sure you get your 3 meals in a day, and and you gotta work hard to digest that. But once you do, the craziest thing happens. I had gone 9 months of just OMADs, right? And then after 5 weeks, we decided to test the waters and see if I was ready to start fasting again, right? And so we put me on one OMAD after 5 weeks of eating like this, and I almost ate my pillow in the night. I thought this is going to be the easiest thing I've ever done. I just did 9 months of OMAD with no problems. Well, I couldn't stand it. The hunger was so bad. It was like mind numbing how hungry my body was. But that was such a beautiful thing, because that was the first time that my metabolism had healed and actually been running at a high level. And I was like, oh, well, this is awesome. This is what I've been missing. I've never had this level of metabolism. I had done so many of those long calorie restrictive diets where I lost 200 and 300 pounds and gained it back. I've never had a high, functioning metabolism like that. And it was something else. And I was like, I knew that's when we were on the right track,
Yeah, it's just a few people speaking to waves, talking about, rev up your fat, your electrolytes, stuff like that. Hey, I do say hang in there, because this is life changing. And I see why people love. I'm listening to you, and anytime someone can find healing, find wholeness, it's it's remarkable, because we really didn't know how we were damaging ourselves. We feel that if we go into a store and it's in there, they're selling it, it's okay for us to buy.
Right.
And no, I don't know if Misty is still on here. I was working with her, and she said something the other day that has just been my thing. Fuel your body, not feed it.
Correct.
We've been feeding, and I said, feed me, Seymour, feed me. If anybody know where that show comes from, Rocky Horror Picture Show with old Seymour. Yeah, you really have to, before you do this, is this fueling me? Is this good for me? Is this helping me? Or is it bringing some harm to me? Don't let them cup 2-3 taste buds in your mouth just throw everything off.
For sure.
Yeah.
When I was in Texas, I wanted to try this, and this wasn't like a fall off the wagon thing. I just wanted to try the Flying Dutchman at In-N-Out Burger, which was just a burger patty with the lettuce wrap on it, And I thought, okay, well, I'm on vacation. I'll try the In-N-Out Burger. So I got 3 of the patties with the lettuce wrap on it. Just from that lettuce, I'm assuming that is because they say that the meat's clean there, but just from that lettuce, my knee swelled up from eating that stupid lettuce, and I was just like, that was the first thing that I've eaten like that in 18 months since I started carnivore, and I got a sore knee out of the deal, and I was like, this is Chafee's right. These stupid vegetables are trying to kill me.
They're trying to kill you. I know. It's so not worth it. I am not kidding. It is just so not worth it. Mine was barbecue sauce. That's just how simple mine was. And so now I look at other food and it's like, not after barbecue sauce. Because I'm a sauce monster. Let me see. Wait a minute. She says, I wonder if my body lately is rejecting nicotine. Been having dizzy spells for over a month. Only thing I haven't tried is not adding freebase nicotine in my vape fluid. Gonna test it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
If you rejecting it, just leave it alone. No.
Yeah, it took 13 days for all the cravings to go away for nicotine. And by the way, for anybody that's ever wants to argue about how, that sugar's not addictive and nicotine's terribly addictive, it was by far exponentially harder to quit drinking soda than it was to quit nicotine, by a long shot. Not even in the same ballpark how much tougher it was. Like nicotine, it's a piece of cake. It was uncomfortable for 13 days, and then it was gone, and I haven't thought about it since.
Right. Yeah. I try and tell people, and this is before carnivore, they were stopping sodas or anything. I said, listen, you might have some massive headaches because you're going through those withdrawals. And yes, that is drug addiction.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So what else? Let's see what we got, because this is good. This is good. We've talked about inflammation. So here, the lymphatic, nope. Yeah. The lymphatic system plays a key role in detoxification. How does adhering to a carnivore diet influence the body's detox process through the lymphatic system?
Well, I think carnivore, period, especially if you are nourishing the body and you're not doing it restrictively or doing it, dirty carnivore or anything. If you're really feeding the body, what I've found, especially through priming, is that when the body is nourished and it feels safe, the body detoxes, which is so. This is one thing that'll drive you nuts as a carnivore, because you'll think, why am I having this reaction when I'm doing everything supposedly right? So you start second guessing yourself, you start questioning yourself, and you're doing everything right. It's just what you did is you gave your body something to work with. It got healthy, and now it felt safe and healthy enough to go and do some oxalate dumping, do some detoxing, and you're just going through a little bit of a storm. Well, it's doing a little bit of fighting on your behalf to try to clean up some long past due housework that it's got to do.
Yeah. We've been eating wrong for years, decades, some of us. And then all of a sudden we want 30 days. It's like, look, be right. Frederick and I, over a year, we finally made it over a year back in May. And things are still happening. Like I'm talking about my cottage cheese under the arms. And
Right.
so I know, but I can say I have been on my vibration plate, and this is not under my arm. I thought they were going to stick a needle in and just like suck fluid out and be done with it. That's not what happened. Wait a minute, right here. This is something. Read that for me.
Gee, you should see if you can get Todd to share his baby Patrol. Thank you so much for dragging that around, Michael. When I meet Michael, I am absolutely putting him in a headlock for putting that out there.
Oh, yes, I saw that earlier. I said, "Oh, I gotta most definitely put that up." Listen, is there anything else? I'm trying to see how long. Right here, he says, "I'm on day 64, still rough, but hanging in there. Hang in there."
Yes.
Yeah, eat through it. I think that's where people mess up. Is we almost want to punish ourselves. We're so used to beating up on ourselves to whip ourselves into shape. But honestly, if you're hungry, eat. Don't even care if you gain weight. It doesn't matter. It's in the end, it's all going to work out. Just eat. Go get you a steak. Go get you some bacon and eggs. Just eat. And if you do that, it'll stop being rough. I promise you. Like, stay clean, but eat. Like, the answer is almost always eat. It's crazy.
And remember that we didn't get this way overnight.
And eating a small meal.
Right. It's been an accumulation of years for most of us. And so don't get discouraged if you don't see results immediately. Just hang in there, like Todd said.
Well, then that takes me back to the next thing is get carnivore, get healthy, and then try and lose, because the weight is going to come off.
It's a byproduct. Absolutely.
Yeah, you just need to go ahead and just get yourself healthy, and that is through eating. It really is nourishing. So when he said that, I thought about, like, sometimes you're like, oh, I think I got a little hunger pain, and it's like, eat.
Right.
Yeah, there it is. It's like, go ahead and take care of your body.
It is. And if you listen to it, like, it tells you everything that it needs. Like, coming back from Texas, this is my first week back from Texas, and I was thinking, oh, I'm definitely going to be fasting this week because, we had so much strange food. And when I got back, wasn't ready to fast. My body wanted to be back on like my normal food schedule, and it wanted to be back on my schedule. So I tried on Monday, and I was like, nope, this doesn't feel right. You know, like my body wants my food, it wants my, you know, my steak and my, you know, fat that I eat, and now I can finally start feeling it. Like I just had to calm it down. Like your body doesn't like to fast or restrict when you know, when you're kind of shook up or when things are going on. It likes to be fed during that time. I mean, it's really crazy how you see it. And then the other thing I was going to say is this iodine has been the closest thing to a miracle, that like a miracle pill, that I've ever had in my life. No joke. I was always that guy where everybody and their dog would say, oh, this thing, this vitamin, this supplement, it's the greatest thing. And I would take it. Nothing ever happened. Like not even a you know, a hint of improvement did I ever get out of any supplement in my life. You know,
how many drops do you do?
So this is 5%, and I do 20 drops, which is a massive amount because it's 50 milligrams. So Dr. Barry has a fantastic video out with Dr. Brownstein about how everybody is likely undersubscribed iodine. And now, but also when we were doing a live stream the other day with Chafee, he said you do have to be careful, because if you are one of the people that has Hashimoto's or a propensity for it, it can overdoing iodine can kick off Hashimoto's if you have a propensity to that. And also, I think if you have histamine issues, that can be a trigger for it. So you want to work up to it, you know, like it test the waters with it and work up to it over a few weeks.
Oh, I'm on 4 drops.
Yeah, right. But I was too, and it wasn't doing a heck of a lot.
Right.
But then I watched that video. The reason why I looked into it, and it was crazy because a couple of people have asked me this since. But every time I'd fast, I'd get a lump in my throat and I would start losing my voice. And I couldn't figure out why that was happening. And it turns out that it's from thyroid fatigue. And it's the beginning of a goiter. So you start to get a goiter. And also when I was fasting, I go to lay down on my pillow at night and I get like a throat cramp. It was weird. It was like a Charlie horse in my throat. It was not very uncomfortable. And within just a few days of taking 25 milligrams at the time, it completely went away. That whole uncomfortable, tight feeling and roughness in my throat. And it was completely thyroid gland. Plus, a very interesting thing happened when I hit 50 milligrams of this. When I was in 2019, I got diagnosed with extremely low testosterone. I was like, my total testosterone was 237. I mean, I was in the tank. And I started taking TRT. And the first testosterone shot that I took, I had a weird reaction to it. I got a real bad migraine and I had to go lay down and close my eyes because I couldn't stand seeing light. But when I opened up my eyes from that, I was like I was seeing in color for the first time. It was like I'd never seen color before. Like it was the craziest experience that I'd ever had. Then I only did it for 6 weeks, and I found out that you can become dependent on testosterone. So I was like, I'm not doing that anymore because I realized that your body needs to make it instead of having it from external sources. So I stopped doing it. But the reason why I say that is because when I hit 50 milligrams of this, I had that same experience where I opened my eyes and the next morning, and it was like I was seeing color again for the first time. It was the craziest thing. It's like you see. So there's something very particular that was happening with my adrenal gland and my hormones that this had helped. And just like the testosterone I took, it had the same effect. So that was crazy for me. But this thing gives me so much energy. It's not even funny. This is my new favorite thing because every morning I crave this, which is weird, right? Because everybody says it tastes terrible. I don't care about the taste. I crave this like I crave my coffee in the morning. Like I used to crave coffee in the morning. I haven't had coffee in 18 months or anything but water. But this, I look forward to now, like my coffee in the morning. And I've gotten a few people, like some people have done it and they said it didn't do any difference for them. But I've had 2 people that said that they're having experiences similar to mine. So I think it's a really cheap and easy something to test, to see if it can help you.
that's interesting. I hadn't made the association with the iodine and feeling stronger. I've noticed that lately, and I hadn't really said anything to you about it. I didn't know what it was coming from because I thought I was eating more fat, and I don't think I've been eating more fat, any more
No,
fat
you
than I have in the
haven't.
past. But my energy level has been boosted,
Mm-hmm.
and I hadn't even thought about the iodine being the culprit. But that's
Iodine has
interesting.
been amazing, and I've talked to a couple people now. Well, Coach Raymond at SBG, he started taking it again because he thought it didn't do anything, but he was taking small doses. And I said, well, this is what I'm doing. And he told me just this morning, he goes, I started doing 50 milligrams. He goes, I see what you mean by it's your coffee now. He goes, man, I've had crazy energy all day because of this.
Yeah.
Oh Lord,
Uh-oh.
all the iodine gonna be gone
Uh-oh.
now. Jesus. Oh
Uh-oh.
Lord. Cause this one here,
Yeah.
he's
I
always
got
over
a
the top.
I've got a
I
very
say do
addictive
2,
personality.
he gonna do 6.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, very
Right
addictive.
there with you.
Oh Lord. Well, Todd, is there anything else that you want to share? But wait, before you share, because I'm gonna hit you with this one, and because I don't know if you know this about me. I was listening, you and I think it was Bella. You got it was something that you all did. I'm gonna say y'all were at the barn when you did it. It was just a quick little, interview. Little answer some questions, but
Yeah.
you talked about that you had some family members that had the gastric. I think the bypass, the sleeve,
Yep.
something else, and they were trying to get you, and it's something that you never did.
Yep. Never did.
Right. And see, I did.
Mm.
And then, yeah, and you almost scared me when you were saying that somebody passed in regards to malnutrition because you really couldn't get in enough food.
Well, she hasn't passed yet, but my mom, I watched her waste away. She's got Parkinson's. She's 81, and now I've been happy. I was nervous to leave her home. She's having troubles when I left, but I was happy that when I was in Texas, she got a new. I don't know. She got excited about carnivore again, so she's doing carnivore again. So I was pretty happy about that. I think she got
Yeah,
kind of
good.
wrapped up in the live streams and stuff I was doing down there, but she has the hardest time eating anything. And I watched her. She just has a frail shadow of herself because she had gastric bypass 20 years ago, and she can't eat but a couple ounces at a time. And then when she got Parkinson's, it also made it to where she can't swallow very good. So she can't get hardly any nutrition down. So she's just frail, And then to make matters worse, she doesn't have an appetite because of that. So she doesn't want carnivore foods; they're too satiating. So, and that's why I thought, I don't know what's going to happen, but I had her on carnivore for a long time, but she got mad at me, didn't want to do that anymore. So then she was eating donuts and things, and she said, well, at least I can swallow them. But I think what happened was when I was gone, she got sick off all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back, now all the donuts are gone from the house, and she's now watching. She's probably watching this right now because she's been she's been watching carnivore videos, so she's trying it again. And then my sister had the lap band
Well, she can
surgery.
at least have that off, I think.
Yeah, she can, and but she is doing fantastic now. She's been carnivore 8 months now, and she's down 70 some pounds. Then she got her husband on it and my niece on it, and my other brother is doing it now, and he kind of has some MS stuff going on. Had for 19 years, but that's getting better, and so
I know.
yeah,
That's good. That's good. Yeah, a lot of time, and I do a show on Wednesday. I couple up with other people that had this surgery, and I didn't lose the weight and keep it off. Now I know I'll never be big again.
right.
It's like to turn around and do and feel the way that we feel, but I can relate with mom. I wasn't dwindling away at the time. People tell me now I look like I'm dwindling away, but I eat. It's like and a lot of the challenges I really can't do. I can't do them because of the restriction of what it is. You don't have a taste for stuff, and then it's a small amount. And what I'm finding now is poached egg for me. Today I've eaten, I don't know, 4 or 5 eggs, bacon and sausage. We did burger.
You eat more than I do in a day. More times anyway.
Thank you. It
More
most
times,
definitely ain't
yeah.
more. I ain't fooling with
More
you.
times.
But listen. Wait, we got one question down. I just see a QQQ. I'm gonna put it up. What does it say? Can you describe the feeling in your throat before the iodine? I always feel like there is a tightness.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to clear my throat.
Yep. That's basically what it would be. Is there's always just a weird little pressure right about here that never went away. It was a slight tightness and pressure in my throat, and then every time I would fast, I would lose my voice, and that tightness would get worse. And then when I was fasting and that tightness would get worse, I would go lay down, and every time I put my head back like this, I'd get a weird like cramp in my throat muscle. I can't even explain it. There's something back here that would cramp up right behind my Adam's apple, and it hurt. And that was my first sign, and I would lose my voice. You know, like I'd be all raspy trying to clear my throat all the time when I was fasting, and it's completely gone.
Well, Sandra says she do remember you constantly clearing your throat before the iodine, and that you don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I'll finish this like this. You guys, his information is down at well, wait a minute. Thank you. Todd, how did you kick the nicotine gum habit? I'm struggling with it. Suggestions are really hooked. Carnivore for 129 days. Thank you for the super chat. Go right ahead, sir.
I never took nicotine gum. I took chewing tobacco. So like actual Copenhagen long cut is what I chewed. You know, it's I'm in the country, so that's, you know, kind of a cowboy thing around here. But literally, I just, you know, I had such a bad habit that I would fall asleep with. I'd have to have a dip in my mouth to sleep. Like I'd sleep with it in my mouth at night because I couldn't sleep without it. I was addicted as addicted gets, and I just like when you're satiated, kind of. I didn't like the taste of it anymore, which is insane to think about after 26 years, because it was something in my own mind. I was like, I'm just never giving this up. I enjoy it too much. I'm not giving this up. And all of a sudden, I didn't like the taste of it anymore, and it started to make my teeth feel weird, right? I can't even explain it, but it made my teeth feel dirty. I didn't like it all of a sudden. I didn't like the taste of it. And then honestly, what happened was,
look at God.
Yeah, I was looking in the mirror, and my teeth were yellow from it. And I was like, I gotta get whitening strips. And I ordered some whitening strips on Amazon, and I went, wait a minute, I'm gonna order whitening strips and then keep putting this stuff in my mouth, and it's gonna keep staining my teeth. And something in the back of my head said, you know what this means? This means you're quitting chewing. And I knew it right then. When I ordered the whitening strips, I know it sounds stupid, but I was like, I'm not chewing anymore, because I want to get this out of my mouth. I'm doing this because I don't like this feeling anymore. I don't like the dingy teeth. So I was like, I guess this means I'm quitting. So that day, I only had 3 cans left, and I was like, I guess when these are done, I'm not doing this anymore. And then there's even a fun story behind that, because when those 3 cans ran out, I was right in the middle of end of the month billing that I had to do, and I had a huge workload, and I was like, I didn't want to, so I went and bought 2 more cans, because I'm like, I'm gonna use 2 more, and I made a decision. But by me buying those 2 cans, I was having this terrible, weird complex about it, and I couldn't figure out why it was bothering me so much, because I literally made a conscious decision to not do it until I was done billing, because I thought that the cravings were going to be bad, and I didn't want to have more stress than I could handle right then. So I bought 2 more cans, but then the stress of me buying those 2 cans was more stress than actually taking them, because I had to stop in the middle of the day at noon one day, and I had to sit down and go, what is going on with me? Because I had like anxiety and guilt about buying these 2 cans and I finally figured out what it was. it was that old brain of ours from failing all the diets and stuff. It was just like I it was like I said, I was starting a diet on Monday, and then Monday came, and then I came up with an excuse not to do it. And I was like, this is weird, because I knew that my actions weren't the same. I know what it feels like to do that, but this time I actually made an educated decision to do this so that I could get through this and actually be successful on it, because I had, since that point, I had come up with kind of an ideology that I wanted to not try to do dramatic things, but to do things that made sense, because if I fail things now, I don't like it, because then it kind of makes it harder to almost do again. Like if I set up something wrong and I fail it because I planned poorly, or I didn't prepare right, then all of a sudden when for round 2 I'm fighting an enemy that's one up on me, right? So it's in my head now because it's something that beat me once. So I didn't want that to happen. I worked that out earlier through all these carnivore challenges that I'd done. So I knew that I never wanted to set myself up poorly, and I knew when I ran out of those 3 cans that I was setting myself up poorly because I had all this work to do. So I just wanted to do it right past then, which end of the month billing had to be done by the 25th, which is why I started on the 26th. The 26th was the day that I quit. But that day I realized that was a fun lesson, because I went, you know what's cool is I can finally trust my own intentions again. Like my old self would have absolutely been making an excuse to never do it. And that's what was wigging out my brain. I was like, this is kind of fun. I don't even trust myself right now, but it's fun to be able to trust myself again. And so, yeah, that was kind of a fun little revelation. But yeah, I haven't, since that day, I chewed those other 2 cans and was done on the 26th, and I haven't touched it since or been even close. So to make a long story short, or shorter, it was, I would just, my body did not want it. And I just made that plan, that picked that day, and then it was hard for 13 days. Like it wasn't terribly hard, but it was there, right. And then after 13 days, it dropped off completely, and I haven't thought about it since.
Very good. Well, scrolling across the bottom, guys, this is where you find Todd, his story. This is just this much of his story that we decided to share, the Carnivore Cure. And I think he's single, y'all. I'm just saying. I'm trying
that bad hat.
With that hat. Listen, excellent date. I've been around him. Listens well. Yes. He's a hot commodity, I'm trying to tell you, in the carnivore community. Yes. So you have a heart of gold.
I appreciate you guys.
Yes. Thank you for taking time out to talk with us. And I'm gonna let you go, because he got off work and raced home to do this with us, and we are so appreciative, Todd. We love the work that you do for the movie, everything. We didn't even get a chance to do that, so we're gonna get back together. I'm gonna hop on one of y'all lives or something. And yes, we do. Look there. Bam.
Thanks so much.
It's been a pleasure, and it was a pleasure meeting you in Austin.
It was awesome, man. I love meeting you guys there.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it again.
Oh, most definitely. Yes, most definitely. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Until next time.